All right, good afternoon, everybody. Continue to work on this tutorial here with this marketplace. And I think for this tutorial, we are going to go ahead and take a look at setting up the registration page prompt for when a non-logged in or non-registered user taps on this button, or let's see where else I had that in place as well. I believe I could tap on that button, tap on this button or that button. And then I believe we also need to add that specific functionality, that logged in functionality to the item information to be able to add to cart. So we actually need to add that here as well, but we haven't set that up yet. So let's go ahead and create that. Go back to the home page here. That prompt for a non-logged in user to see for getting registered. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to use a bottom sheet for that. And I'm just going to grab one here. We'll just call it register. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, and let me drag this down. Give me some space to work with here. All right, now I've noticed, let me go back. We'll go ahead and start with this one. I'm going to go ahead and define that. This bottom sheet. I have noticed, so the background color, you've got the barrier color, which is everything that fills the space around the bottom sheet. That would be your barrier color. And the background color, I always assumed it would be no, that's not right here. It would be this container that is pre-filled when you first create a bottom sheet. I figured it would be this container would make that one transparent if you set it from here. But it doesn't seem to make it transparent, so I'm not. See that it's the according to the little tip here, it's the color for the background of the bottom sheet itself. I've set that to transparent before, but it doesn't seem to actually make it transparent. So I don't know if that's an issue on Flutterflow's side, or if I'm actually not referencing that container, and I'm actually referencing the register container. So it's a little confusing, in other words, as to exactly what it's talking about, as to what is being made transparent. So if I leave this as a solid color, then it's going to show that container all the way from the bottom to wherever I set its maximum height at. But what I want to do is I want the register box to pop up in the middle of the screen with transparency all around it, so that it's kind of like a pop-up widget that comes up in the middle of the screen. I don't want it to show its color all the way to the bottom of the screen. And so to do that, I found the best way to do that, unless Flutterflow has changed something, or if their definition of exactly what you're making transparent is kind of confusing. Then what I want to do is I actually want to make this container transparent as well. And that way it will be transparent from top to bottom, and then I'll place another container inside this container to work with. So I'll kind of bring that down a little bit, and hopefully what I just said makes sense. I don't know. makes sense in my head, but may not make sense to other folks that are watching this. Anyway, so inside that container, I'm going to go ahead and place a column. And I'll just center that. And then I'm going to put another container in there. And this will be the container that I'll actually be working with, and that will be visible to the user. And I'm not going to extend it all the way edge to edge. I do want some space between it. And then I'm going to make the vertical axis like that. We'll start there. And then I'm going to round the edges on it. I'm going to do 20 and see how that looks. Yeah, that looks good. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and set its height to 50. Well, actually, I think I'm going to do 60%. Because that's referring to the top of the container of the bottom sheet, which would I want the bottom sheet container to sit relatively middle of the screen. If I set that to 50%, the top of the bottom sheet would sit at the middle of the screen, and so that would make everything inside the bottom sheet slightly lower than center screen. So I'm actually going to set it to 60%, so the top of that bottom sheet is at 60, and then everything else will fall roughly at 50%. And then I am going to make it non-dismissible, because I only want them to use buttons to be able to dismiss that bottom sheet. And you'll see what I mean once we get all that taken care of. Okay, so now we have this bottom sheet that'll pop up. This should pop up relatively in the middle of the screen. And of course we want to go ahead and put another column in here to work with. And I do want to bring that down some. And probably going to do a row in here for my top level text. And we'll set this, let's see. And we'll copy, duplicate that, make that a little bit smaller. Okay, leave it like that for now. So as noted in another one of my tutorials, you notice how the text is falling off the screen here. You do want to set the text to expansion. That way it'll go down the row there. And I do want to bump this row in 12 on the right end as well. Okay. And let's see. Just do it like that for now. All right, so that'll work. So now we want to set it up so they can register here. Go ahead and bring this down a little bit more. So I think what I'm going to do first then is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop a form in here. And I'm going to bump that down just slightly. And then I'll put a column inside the form. And then I'm going to add a text field. I don't want that going all the way end to end here. Let's do percentage at 80%. That'll work. And then I'm going to let's actually put it like this. And I don't want to autofocus on that. I'm going to set this to email address so that the keyboard that's displayed is equipped for an email address. And then I'm going to, let's see, I want to do a border on that. And I'm going to do an outline. Okay, that'll work. And then I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate. And I'm going to put some padding between it. Actually, I think I'll do a little bit more. We'll do 12. And then we're going to set that as password. And we're going to make that a password field. Go down here and we'll make that a text field. Okay. And let's grab our form and drop it down just a little bit more. Okay, that'll work. And now go over here to my widget tree, and I'm going to put a button in there. I think I'll scoot that over a little bit here, and that'll be our register button. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate that. I don't want to duplicate. That's right. I actually needed to put a row in there. I apologize. You do that real quick. I'm going to put a row, and then I'm going to put that button into that row, and put that over there. Then 28. There we go. All right, now I'll duplicate. And I'm going to set some padding between those. Yeah, that'll work. And this will just be a cancel button. Change the text color to a blackish gray color. And I'm going to make its background transparent. And I need to remove the elevation, so there isn't that shadow back there. Okay, so that looks good. And then I want to bring that down just a little bit more. And I want to drop a row outside of the form. Okay, just making sure it was outside of it. And I want to bring this down and drop it down to about 48, 12 and 12. And then we'll do something like this. Okay, so we'll do that. I think that'll work. And actually, I'm actually just going to bump all this over to the left here. It's a little bit closer together. All right, so now we've got just a very simple registration form that'll pop up if a non-logged in user taps anything that requires that they be logged in. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this action here and plug it in to all the places that it needs to be. Let's go here. Go ahead and terminate at the end of these here. Okay, and then here, I think that was another spot where I need it. Yep. All right, so that should do for now. We do want it here as well, so we'll go ahead and add a conditional. Is user logged in? I'm just going to put that there and leave it blank as a reminder, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in here. All right. So also important, obviously this is already a bottom sheet that's popped up. You can leave that bottom sheet expanded and then pop another bottom sheet on top of it, or you can dismiss that bottom sheet before opening another bottom sheet, which is what I would actually prefer. So I'm going to cause it to dismiss this one and then open up the register bottom sheet. And obviously, I guess I should probably show you real quick. You do want to make sure the bottom sheet dismissal is the first in the action chain. Otherwise, if you have it as second, this bottom sheet will open and then it will dismiss both of them. So you want to make sure that the dismiss action comes before the next bottom sheet action. All right, so now that we've got this set up, let's go ahead and set the cancel to dismiss this bottom sheet here. And let's go ahead and do our registration actions. So I'm going to go to Firebase authentication. I'm going to do create an account, and I'm going to use email authentication for that. And then the email field, which let me label these just for your reference. So now I've got the email field that I'll use and then the password field. It is important when creating a registration or login form that uses a password like this, that you set the password field down here. Let's see here, that you do assign it the password field option. Otherwise, your registration action won't know what field to use as the password field. So that is important to know. I'm not using confirm password, so I'm going to leave that blank. I do want to create a user document. That'll go into the users collection. And then I'm not going to set any of this stuff here. Email field will automatically be filled, and so will the UID, so you don't need to set any of that. All right, so now that we've got them an account created, I'm going to leave that additional action in here as a reminder to come back here, because I want there to be follow-up actions after they register their account. Now, as far as logging in goes, we can set this up a few different ways if we wanted to. We could, in theory, have it all operate from this registration module and do conditional visibility on the registration button, so that these buttons just kind of swap out, and this could change to a register button. You could have an entirely different page. You could have an entirely different pop-up box here. You could use animation to swap these things out. So there's a few different ways that you could set this up whenever you have them navigate to a login page. But I'm not going to use this here. I'm actually going to have them go to a separate page entirely to log in. I'll just go ahead and create that real quick. And I'm going to use one of their auth pages that's already in here. Let's see, which one do I want to use? Yeah, we'll just use this for now. And get rid of that app bar because it's not working correctly. Okay. So I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm not going to do a whole lot there for the time being. Register. And so when they tap this login button here, I want it to dismiss the bottom sheet, and then I want it to navigate to my login screen. Which you don't have to dismiss the bottom sheet initially. That's entirely optional as to whether you do that. But I am going to dismiss it, and then I'm actually going to have, let's see here, have it slide down. Okay. Have that slide down. And I'm not actually going to allow navigate back. And then on the login screen, let's go ahead and set this real quick. I do want this consistent. And that's just going to be a home button, so it's not actually going to navigate them back anywhere. It's going to navigate to the home screen. I do want to turn that off. And then we'll just slide left. Okay. All right. So that's how I want to set that up there. And then, of course, we do want to have. Go ahead and change this real quick. Oops. That's not what I want. Then we can do that. Okay. Do a register button, and then we can do the same color there, and then that way they can register an account if they need to. They ended up on the login screen by mistake, and then we can direct that to that bottom sheet. Okay. And let's I don't really let's see. That'll be fine. And then for logging in, we go to Firebase authentication and do login. We use email as the authentication. We'll select email address and then password. And once they're logged in, we're going to do a navigate to home. We're going to turn off back navigation, and we're just going to do an instant nav. There we go. Okay, so that's all set up. We'll set up a forgot password page here later on. That'll work. All right, so that's taken care of. So I do need to I need to go ahead and create some folders here. Put that in there, and I am going to put this in there. Kind of keep things a little organized. All right, so we've got that registration set up now. Force them to create an account if they try and click on any of these things through here. And of course, we do have it here as well if they're not logged in. So that's good to go. That's all I'm going to do for this tutorial. Wanted it short and sweet. I did need to do something here to show. Wanted to make sure that I covered it. It's something that we did here, and that was, grab the stack. I set a conditional visibility on here so that if the quantity available for that item is greater than 0, it will display, otherwise it won't. And so we do need to set that same conditional visibility over here on the main screen. And so let's grab the container. And condition. Oh wait, that's right, we're not, yeah, sorry. Never mind. Disregard. I forgot that we're displaying the markets here. We're not actually displaying market items. My mistake. So no, you don't want to set anything. Although I do want to check, see my backend query here. Yeah, there is actually something we do want to set as a conditional visibility here. So I'm going to do container. I am going to set a conditional visibility. I'm going to go to markets document here. And I'm going to select is suspended. And I'm going to set that to the opposite value. So as long as is suspended is false, then this market will show up. So when we do the app level administration panel to be able to suspend or whatever we need to do to control that, we want it to reflect on the public side. So if an account is suspended, is true, then we don't want it to be visible here. So we want that to be the opposite statement. Go ahead and confirm that. And I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to do the same down here. Well, didn't put it in there. Okay, I don't know why it's not dropping it in there. So let's just go down through here. It's suspended, and then set it to the opposite. Okay. All right, so that's good to go. So yeah, went ahead and just finished that out. So that's all we need to do on this tutorial, is just setting up the registration page. And so in the next tutorial, we're gonna start tackling some more in-depth stuff here. So, all right, that's it for now.